The luggage makes the car feel cramped. Mom, Dad, are you hot? Yes, it's tough to go home in this cramped space. Nicole, do you understand what we're trying to say? Suddenly questioned. I was flustered. What do you mean? You don't understand what we're saying? You should be grateful for the chance to walk home for 5 hours. It's good for your health, and you should be grateful for such an opportunity. At this, I finally reached my limit. Fine, I'll get out of the car. Walking is easy enough. In fact, I can already see our house. Seeing them laugh at what I said, I had a clear plan. I was looking forward to retaliating fully for all I had endured up to now. I, Nicole Hansen, am a 27-year-old housewife, married for half a year. I met my husband, John, in a university hiking club. We are both active and often go on trips on weekends. We became close quickly because of our shared interests. John was always the central figure in the club, actively involved in leading everyone with his opinions when decisions were needed. Since we became lovers, John has always been leading our relationship. I want to eat Chinese this weekend, it's been a while. That's not possible. We're going hiking this weekend. Nicole, prepare lunch for 2. It's troublesome when you suddenly ask for a packed lunch. Are you really trying to argue with me? Thus, John always set our plans, and his word was the final decision. However, I am not the type to assert myself, and I found it easier to follow his decisions. Looking back, this behavior only encouraged his selfishness. I decided to marry John because, although he occasionally showed a selfish side, he seemed fundamentally reliable. However, when we seriously started considering marriage, John made an unexpected comment. Nicole, you'll quit your job when we get married, right? But I really like my current job. Why is a woman arguing? Your job is just a plaything. It's not on the same level as mine. That's why you should perfectly manage the household and support my career, which is more important. For John, my career seemed insignificant compared to his lifestyle and career. His decisions were always final. I pondered over this, but as the days went by, I eventually decided to quit my job and become a housewife. Despite this, I couldn't understand why John wanted me to focus solely on the household when balancing both would make life easier. His true intentions became clear only after our marriage was certain. When we visited his parents to announce our engagement, I faced the reality. Mom, this is my future wife, Nicole. She's going to quit her job and enter the household. Really, I hope she'll moderate her dependence on my wallet. Her abilities are low, but please approve of our marriage. Even though it was John who suggested I become a housewife, his words were harsh. John feels he is fulfilling his role as a dependable husband by making me financially dependent. To him, I was merely a means to enhance his own value. It seems he wanted to show that in front of his mother the most. It was uncomfortable to be demeaned in front of others, including his mother, but if I spoke up, he would get angry, so I continued to endure. Hey, couldn't you marry a more attractive woman? Nicole is modest and plain-looking, and since she doesn't work, it seems she has no special skills. It's like supporting a child with the appearance of an adult. You're really kind to marry such a woman. His mother seemed very pleased with this situation. For her, John appeared as a strong and reliable man who protected me. John frequently accused me of being a spendthrift and openly boasted of his dignity as the head of the family. Despite this, I, who had fallen in love, tolerated his behavior. I thought it was my duty to take care of John. The more burdensome it became, the stronger my dedication to him seemed. Eventually, John even became negligent about putting his clothes in the laundry basket. Originally, he grew up in his parents' house and didn't even understand the basic skills of household chores. Without me, he couldn't even prepare a single dish by himself. Surprisingly, John was proud of this situation, and it seemed natural to him that I handled everything. He felt that earning outside made him the most important, and I should follow his lead. He misunderstood that everything would go his way, and even when traffic was congested, he blamed me. Man, I can't even tell if we're driving or standing. Why did you choose such a traffic-heavy route? I'm sorry, I should have checked more thoroughly. Before I realized it, I had developed a habit of apologizing even for things that weren't my responsibility. 6 months into our marriage, summer arrived, and the increasing heat gradually became unbearable. Nicole, let's go to a cool place for our next break. I've already booked it, John suddenly declared, and I was surprised. Reservation. What about my schedule? I asked. Don't argue. A housewife like you doesn't have plans, he said. Thus, the travel plans were easily decided, and when I saw the credit card bill at the end of the month, it was significantly higher than usual. John, this month's bill is unusual. Is there a mistake? Should I contact the card company? I asked. What? No, it's correct. Because it's for 6 people, he replied. At his answer, I became even more puzzled. 6 people. Why? Obviously, the summer retreat includes my parents and sisters. It can't just be us having fun. It's nice to use one's money for filial piety. No, I wouldn't want to think you're such a terrible person who skimps on family expenses. Since you don't usually do anything, let's make it meaningful this time, he said. While filial piety was admirable, I was upset about the card being used without consultation, and I couldn't stand being made to feel indebted. Why did you decide such an important thing on your own? I questioned. You're bad at thinking, so I'm planning everything. Is there something wrong with my choices? If so, present your arguments and try to refute my opinion, John insisted, not yielding as he justified his actions. It was unavoidable to use the dowry my parents gave me at the time of marriage to settle the payments. My peace of mind was lost, and John's tyranny was intensifying. It seemed natural to him that he could use everything I owned, both my possessions and my time. John constantly belittled me, and I could neither complain nor seek advice. During this time, the day of our trip to the summer retreat arrived. Our family provided a large car, and we headed to the destination with 6 adults. This was my 3rd encounter with my in-laws. I hadn't noticed before at formal occasions, but it seemed that my mother-in-law habitually took care of all my father-in-law's daily needs. He wouldn't even open a bottle of water himself, relying entirely on her, and he never expressed gratitude. My sister-in-law seemed a bit irritated by such behavior, but her husband actively participated in household chores and was always concerned about whether she was tired. It's remarkable that such men exist. While I felt uncomfortable with how my mother-in-law delighted in caregiving, it seemed to be the norm for John's family. I sometimes wondered vaguely if I would end up the same way. My mother-in-law, who holds somewhat conservative views, seems to want to conveniently use me as her daughter-in-law. Contrary to her devoted actions towards my father-in-law, she was strict with me. Nicole, how about that restaurant for dinner? My mother-in-law suggested, and I nodded. Yes, I think that would be good. Then, as if she had expected it, she said, then you should make the reservation. You want me to make the reservation? I was surprised. Of course you really don't notice anything, do you? It's typical for the new daughter-in-law to handle household matters. You should rather be the one to say, I'll make the reservation. For her, a daughter-in-law was someone who should fulfill all her demands, a means to carry out her desires. Watching how she doted on my father-in-law, she probably expected the same from me. Indeed, caring for my in-laws has also been added to my responsibilities, making it even more burdensome. Like John, the silent pressure was intense, and I was not allowed to object. The only support I had was from my sister-in-law, Anna, who was older than John and managed her tasks very efficiently. This was our first real conversation, but even during group activities, her ideas were logical and insightful, highlighting her intelligence. Anna intervened whenever my mother-in-law tried to force me to work. She knew how unpleasant it was to be imposed upon by a mother-in-law because she had experienced it elsewhere. John said nothing to his mother, seemingly enjoying his time at the summer retreat. This cool breeze is really pleasant. It might be nice to live in a place like this in the future, John remarked, and my mother-in-law took a deep breath of the fresh air and agreed with him. Truly, it would be ideal to spend our retirement like this. However, this area seems expensive. It's an unreachable dream for us, she spoke with genuine regret. Taking advantage of the trip, my mother-in-law actively moved around, visiting tourist spots and souvenir shops. During this time, John's geographical knowledge was greatly helpful. Despite it supposedly being his first visit to the area, he walked with confidence, as if he already knew the land well, heading towards the places he wanted to visit. For his parents, John remained their adorable son, and they happily complied with the self-centered itinerary he planned without a single complaint. John, have you been to this area before? I asked. No, this is my first time here, John answered. You seem to know more than expected, even the busy times of restaurants. Yes, well? John's response was evasive. In reality, John was well acquainted with the area, having apparently done quite a bit of research beforehand. Perhaps he was putting his heart into making this trip enjoyable for everyone. Lost in thought, I was interrupted by my mother-in-law's voice. "This is heavy, Nicole. Help me, please." It appeared that my mother-in-law had done a lot of shopping, and her hands were full of heavy bags. "Did you buy this much?" "Unlike you, I have many acquaintances. There are many people who need souvenirs. Since I'm carrying so much, it's natural for a daughter-in-law to help. I don't understand why you can't see that. Probably because your parents didn't educate you properly." Being blamed for my parents' supposed lack of education was unsettling. However, my mother-in-law often said such things. Behind her words was the pride that she had raised John well. Her attitude irked me, and I managed to suppress the urge to argue back. Silently following my mother-in-law's directions, Anna frowned at her words. "How can you say such awful things, Mom? Nicole, I'm sorry. I'll carry it with you. Think of it as taking care of the elderly." "The elderly? Why would you say that to your parents?" "I can't clear my mind unless I say it. If it's frustrating, please be independent and don't rely on us." The stress of needing to attend to not only John but also my in-laws was palpable, but with Anna's support and the novelty of the new surroundings, I was reminded of my past romance. John's leadership was reassuring in such situations. By the time we were ready to return home, the car was packed with souvenirs and memorabilia, most of which my mother-in-law had chosen. She didn't just buy souvenirs, she bought everyday items in bulk, claiming, "This place is cheap." The luggage made the car feel cramped. "Dad, Mom, are you hot?" "Yes, it's tough to go home in this cramped space. Nicole, do you understand what we're trying to say?" Suddenly questioned, I was flustered. What do you mean?" "You don't understand what we're saying? You should walk home for 5 hours." "What? Walking home is impossible." "Our home is located in a place where you can't return without using the highway from where we are. Walking home would be a joke." Though we could normally send the luggage by courier, they hesitated because they were reluctant to pay the shipping costs. Using a courier service is a luxury, isn't it? It negates the purpose of coming by car. Compared to that, making you walk is free. It's good for your health, and you should be grateful for such a chance. Normally, I was told not to argue back, but this time I reflexively objected. In response, John and my mother-in-law frowned. "What do you think is more important, your body or all these souvenirs? You have hiking experience, so walking should be your forte. It would be good to enjoy nature on your way back." Upon hearing this, I finally reached my breaking point. I had endured a lot up to now, but there were things I could and could not do. It seems they did not understand this boundary and believed they could say anything to me. "All right, then I'll get out of the car. Walking is an easy task for me. In fact, I can already see our house." John and his mother laughed out loud at my words, and I heard his mother's voice saying, "What are you talking about? You are saying things that make no sense. Have you lost your mind?" they asked, and I replied with a chuckle. "Actually, there is a cluster of resort homes just a short distance from here, and one of the villas there is mine. I'll be there soon, and I don't need to return to the original house. I'm quite satisfied with this place. My butler will be here shortly to pick me up." "Really, John?" and his mother said, shaken. What I said was true. My father ran a business, and our family was relatively affluent. Actually, my parents had recently bought a house in this area as a vacation home. It seems they were planning to live here in the future. This area was very popular with people relocating from cities. I had been allowed to use the villa freely on the condition that I managed the property during the off-season. I had not discussed this with John, but I had revealed everything to my parents just before leaving. My parents were surprised and then furious, and they told me they would fully support me. Considering that, I decided to move to this holiday resort if they wished. "John, I feel like I have grown stronger thanks to you. Thank you. You have given me many orders and behaved selfishly. I may not have been the ideal wife for you. Perhaps you would be happier marrying someone you love," I said as I bid farewell. His mother's face darkened at my words. "What do you mean by someone you love?" I had been secretly investigating John's actions for a while. I suspected he was having an affair. Shortly after we married, John started leaving the house frequently, citing business trips. The business destination he mentioned was likely the home of a woman living in this area. John, you said you were on business trips, but I became suspicious because of how frequent they were. When I checked with your company, I found out that such business trips did not exist. In reality, you were meeting a woman living in this area under the guise of work. Recently, I found a receipt from a store in this area in your pocket. Her name seems to be Maggie, and she's from the same school as us, isn't she? John could not hide his surprise and seemed flustered. He must have thought he was managing things well. His plans were too naive. Perhaps he thought his actions were not transparent to me. I have always handled all the household chores and was fully aware of every detail of my husband's activities. You knew about that too. How did I not notice you were aware? It was Anna who couldn't bear the situation any longer. She felt it was unforgivable and strongly reproached John. John, what is this all about? Infidelity is not acceptable, she said. Even his mother, who usually defended John, changed her expression this time and looked at him sternly. John seems to have been meeting her during his personal time. They went shopping and enjoyed tea together in the neighborhood. Here are the photos as proof. I used my precious free time to secretly follow John through the crowds. If my suspicions were correct, he would surely leave some clues. His mother also saw the photos I took with my smartphone, and her doubts turned into certainty. John, explain what's going on. Pressed by Anna's intense anger, John finally had no choice but to confess. Trying to maintain his composure, he began to speak. All right, I'll be honest. Just before our marriage, I found out via social media that a former classmate lives in this area. She had moved here for a job, and she's someone I was secretly attracted to during my student days. As we started reminiscing about the past, we became closer and closer. He paused for a moment. Everyone held their breath to hear what he would say next. But what he said next was unexpected. However, we are not in a romantic relationship yet. We're just at a delicate stage close to that boundary. It's precisely because it's such a crucial time that I've been coming here frequently on my own. I've decided in my heart to start a new life here with her as my girlfriend in the future, he explained. His affair had just begun. John was not just playing around, he was seriously trying to win Maggie. Hearing this, my discomfort only grew because his seriousness was clear. Moreover, he had been meeting Maggie even before our marriage. What were those days with me then? His parents were also stunned for a while after hearing his story. What are you talking about? What was the marriage with Nicole all about? I made a mistake in my judgment. If I had met them in a different order, I would have married Maggie. My relationship with Nicole deepened by chance, leading to marriage. I comfort myself thinking I was just unlucky, John said. So, our marriage was not what he truly wanted. He had been intentionally harsh to me since getting married, hoping I would initiate a divorce. Understanding this, I realized why John had increasingly behaved selfishly after getting married. All his actions were immature attempts to realize his own romantic feelings. It seems he never really considered my feelings from the start. I cannot easily accept being treated with such disdain. Now, I feel nothing for John. Even if his relationship with Maggie was superficial, the fact that he lied and met another woman was true. His selfishness towards me was beyond acceptable limits. I handed him the divorce papers I had prepared in advance. They were ready to be submitted as soon as he signed. John, sign this. You won't regret divorcing, will you? Yeah, that might be good. It'll clear things up for me, and I can date Maggie freely. John signed the papers quickly, as if it suited him just fine. Watching this, I secretly rejoiced. I carefully placed the documents in my bag and then told him, Actually, John, I found Maggie's posts on social media and contacted her. When I told her we were married, she was quite shocked. Maggie was also a close friend of mine. I reached out to her, worried that she might be stealing my husband, but it turned out she already had another lover and was not interested in John. As if to prove it, Maggie openly disclosed that John had been visiting her under the pretense of meeting. It seemed she felt no guilt about this fact. She's getting married this fall, you know. You might have been thrilled to meet someone you admired from the past, but for Maggie, you were just a friend. It's rather comical that you divorced for another woman, only for your love not to be reciprocated. John's face visibly became pale so that even those around us could see. What? Are you lying to deceive me? How low can you be? No matter how much you criticize me, the facts won't change. It seems Maggie hasn't officially announced her marriage yet, but she has shared that information with me alone. At that moment, I showed him the screen displaying a message from Maggie. The content clearly showed that Maggie regarded John as just a kind friend. John looked up in despair after reading the message. I don't even think about remarrying me. I am not someone who marries just to fill a gap. From now on, you should live freely without relying on anyone. John had seen Maggie as emotional support, but with that gone, he was left in a very unstable state. Now that our connection was severed, he had nothing left. But perhaps it's better for Maggie. It would be a pain for her to look after a man who can't even manage household chores for life. She will undoubtedly spend her time with someone far better than you. While I share some blame for indulging you, you have failed as a husband. How has it come to this? Was the last half year completely meaningless? John muttered to himself and fell silent for a while. Yes, you were just being played by a kind classmate. Or perhaps you willingly rolled around. I paid the price for the miserable 6 months you put me through. It's truly foolish to sacrifice family over such misconceptions. John grabbed my arm silently, pleading not to be abandoned. Anna loudly responded to his action. Stop depending on others. Throughout the trip, I was so irritated by you and your mother's attitude, taking it for granted that Nicole would handle everything. In this day and age, no one acts like that. Who do you think you are? Everything you've done freely up to now is coming back to haunt you. The car was now in utter chaos. John's quiet father and brother-in-law were completely silent, just observing the unfolding situation quietly. From your behavior during the trip, it's easy to imagine how difficult everyday life must be. I couldn't stand it even for a day. Nowadays, no old beliefs about men or mothers-in-law being superior hold up. I wish you would cut down on your jokes. Suddenly, John's laughter filled the air. Ha ha ha, Nicole. No matter how tough you act, it's futile. Even if I disliked it, someone unemployed like you can't live on your own. He still seemed immersed in his delusions. Disregarding me, his attitude of trying to keep me under his control was clear. You have no choice but to depend on me. I orchestrated it that way. Even after the divorce, your job options will be limited. Understand this and quietly destroy the divorce papers, and continue your role in maintaining the home. Finally, his true intentions were revealed. To him, I was merely akin to a housemaid. Looking back, even during our dating period, he might have been kind only superficially. In reality, he wanted someone convenient who would manage everything for him without him needing to do anything. Confused by John's words, I responded, "Ha! What are you talking about? I earn more than you, though." John thought I was joking and burst into more laughter. Stop kidding. What can a housewife who stays at home all day do? Don't insult working people. How will you, who knows nothing about the world, earn an income? Ha! Who's out of touch? You're the one with issues, unable to manage basic chores and even taking time off work to meet women. All right, look at this. I took out my smartphone and showed him the screen. It was a net banking app, showing a deposit of $500 made during our 2-day trip, with notifications of more deposits over the last few days. I took up selling my handmade crafts as a hobby after you took my job from me. John appeared completely taken aback, as if this was totally unexpected. That was no surprise. I had never mentioned this activity to John. After finding my handmade materials left around the room early in our marriage, John had scolded me, asking what I was playing at. Originally, I started my crafts as a side hustle to contribute to the household, but after seeing John's reaction, I avoided the topic and kept my income a secret. Actually, my recent pieces are selling well and at high prices, selling daily. I'm seriously considering starting a business soon. Honestly, divorcing you is only a benefit to me. I can focus on creating my products and be free from the hassle of taking care of you. John was visibly shocked and muttered, "Starting a business," as he froze. I understand that starting a business requires significant effort, but now that I feel capable of earning my own income, I'm ready to take on that challenge. Unlike you, who just passes time at the company, I'm going to carve my own path. Anna nodded in agreement with my statement. John then slumped his shoulders in disappointment. I feel like the time I was manipulated by you is a waste. From now on, live in a world that suits you. You're not good at facing reality, so I'll leave you alone. Just don't interfere in my life ever again." Anna also agreed with me. That's a brilliant idea. This person has always been dependent on others, taking advantages without doing anything. This time, let's make sure he overcomes the difficulties and reforges his will. At Anna's merciless suggestion, I couldn't help but laugh. Really, that's true. He looks mature on the outside but is still a child at heart. I'm tired of taking care of a grown-up kid. It would be good for him to try living on his own for once. As I mentioned earlier, I'll walk back to my home, just 10 minutes away. With that declaration, I got out of the car and closed the door. Then, from the window, I added something I had forgotten. Your mother said that she couldn't live here, but I apologize that I am the one who will be living in this wonderful place. Please try to make it so you can live here too. I will now freely enjoy my life surrounded by nature. I waved my hand with a smile as I spoke. John and his mother grimaced with frustration. Thus, I managed to finalize the divorce with John, secured a small amount of savings from our marriage, and received compensation for the hardships I endured at home. I used these funds to start a new business. Anna and I have maintained a good friendship even after the divorce. She told me about the events that transpired after I left the car. It was quite a scene after you left. John lost his spirits, and his mother was disturbed by the news of your new business and your cottage. Those two are hopeless. Even if John dates someone in the future, with his personality, marriage would be difficult. I could imagine that situation. Even if John changed his self-centered behavior, a domineering mother-in-law lurked in the background. Any typical woman would undoubtedly run away. According to Anna's report, John has completely lost his confidence and now fears even talking to women. John has started living alone, but life is difficult for him, and even daily tasks are a struggle. His father has refused to help him at all because of his selfish actions. Anna laughed, suggesting that John would likely lead a tough life moving forward. She herself has become estranged from her mother, which has significantly reduced her stress. Today, Anna visited my home, complimenting my cottage by saying, "It's a beautiful and stylish house. Wonderful." "Nicole, how are you?" "Thanks to you, I'm doing well." "Anna, thank you for coming all this way," I replied, and Anna smiled warmly and waved back. "It's okay. Coming here is a nice change of pace for me, and the climate is pleasant too. I was looking forward to getting along with you. It's like having a new sister," Anna said, and her warmth brought comfort to my heart. After recent hardships, there seems to be a strange bond forming between Anna and me. Freed from strange family ties, the two of us are building a supportive relationship. "Hey, Anna, please take this," I said, offering her a piece of jewelry I had crafted with her in mind. Anna accepted it and expressed her joy wholeheartedly. "This is wonderful. Did you make this, Nicole? You really have talent. I want to wear it right away," she said, and put on the jewelry immediately. Seeing her happiness, I too was greatly pleased. This is how we were able to build a relationship almost like real sisters. Although my marriage to John didn't go as planned, meeting a wonderful woman like Anna was not in vain. From now on, in a tranquil residential area, I intend to actively enjoy life.